Hello and welcome to another Decrepit Gaming video. Today it's going to be another Dwarfen Mountain Holds video for Warhammer The Old World. As today is pre-order day, I wanted to put together a potential 2,000 point army and price up just exactly how much it's going to cost and whether or not I think GW are inflating the price, should I say. I know it's a very controversial topic. Some people are perfectly happy with the price that they're paying for stuff, and some people aren't. But anyway, let's take a look, and you can tell me in the comments what you think. So I went on to Warhammer World Store. Now, I know you can buy a lot of this stuff third party, and I suggest that you do. If you have a local gaming shop that you use, or even an internet seller that you like to use, I suggest you use them because you're going to get a better deal. But I'm just going to give you what the price of what GW would be wanting for their stuff. So, Dwarfen Mountain Hold. Let's have a look. Okay, there's the Dwarfen Mountain Holds battalion. Let's have a look at that. So, it's £110. Who knows what you poor folks in America are going to have to pay? Probably double that. And as for Australia, you guys just get utterly shafted. There's no other way of saying it. I totally understand why the 3D printing scene in Australia is huge. A hell of a lot of YouTube's 3D printing guys are Australians, and I can see why. And I totally understand, and I sympathise, and I would be in the exact same position myself if I was having to pay those extortionate prices. And that's not counting availability and the fact that, let's have a look and see exactly what's available here and what's not, eh? So, we can order a Dwarfen Mountain Holds battalion box. So I'm going to go to Army Builder, a fantastic online resource that I recommend you should all be using. And I'm going to click on Dwarfen Mountain Holds, and I'm going to try and build a 2,000 point dwarf army. But I'm going to start with the contents of what's in that box. So it comes with, first thing we're going to have to add is 4 units. So it comes with 2 units of dwarf warriors, or 1 big unit. I would probably make them 2 smaller units. So let's make 2 16 man dwarf units, and we'll give them a veteran, a standard bearer, and a musician. They've hand weapons and heavy armor, and we'll give them shields. That seems fair enough to me. So that's our first unit. Second unit, exact same. Because the box comes with 32 of these guys, let's use them. Let's be economical with our finances. We may not be very competitive with these units, but that's what's being sold to us. So 159 points a unit to give them shields. We could give them great weapons, but we'll have other units that can do, like, perform that great weapon role in the battlefield. Let's add. We have a choice now of quarrelers and thunderers. So when I buy the box, I'll make a unit of each. So 16 quarrelers. Not so fun. Well, probably actually you're probably still best to give them a full command, because being dwarves, they're probably going to have to fight. Let's also give them shields so they can drop their crossbow in hand to hand, pull out their hand to hand weapon. As you see, they're armed with both, and that gives them a shield. So they have heavy armor, so they have a 4-up save. Actually very good, just as good in hand to hand as they are at shooting. So that's our quarrelers. Let's add some thunderers. Same number, 16. Again, let's give them a full command party. And let's give them shields again, because they may well be fighting in hand-to-hand combat. So, What else does that box come with? It comes with 2 gyrocopters, or a gyrocopter and a gyro bomber. So they're going to be special and probably rare. So the gyrocopter's special. Let's take a look at its options. For 5 points we can get a brimstone gun, which is strength 5 -2, D3 shots, D3 +1 shots, quick shot. Great weapon. The steam gun that it originally comes with is a breath weapon. Potentially hit more models, potentially. But not necessarily. So currently we like the brimstone gun. Let's have a look at the clatter guns. Potentially more shots. Range of 24. What range was the brimstone? 18. I still like the brimstone. I like the strength 5 -2. For the potential of punching holes through heavily armored stuff. So I think I'm gonna pay for a brimstone gun, at least initially. That's really the only options you can go for with the gyrocopter. Now let's add a gyro bomber. Again, we have the same weapon options. Must be something else to the gyro bomber. Again, I'm going to pay for the brimstone gun. So that's the points spent on our battalion box. And as you can see there, we have spent 849 of our 2000 points. So we have 1150 points to play with. So let's go and see what we can buy from GW. That's our battalion box, and that's £110 so far. So we have hammers, iron breakers, quarrelers, which we've already added, warriors, which we've already added, a runesmith, which we're probably going to need. So let's add some characters, eh? Anvil of Doom, Cantor, Engineers, again tempting, Dwarf Lord on with shield bearers, temporarily out of stock. Oh look here, we've got a problem, instant problem. We can't buy any of our character models. And we don't appear to have any generic. Let's add the engineers. 3750. Let's add the Anvil of Doom that's in stock, or orderable, and a runesmith. So it's not ideal, but it's what we've got to work with. Wasn't even showing you that window, was it? No, it wasn't. The joys of OBS. But just to show you that again. These are the prices GW are wanting for stuff. 52.50 for 20 hammers, 52.50 for 20 iron breakers, 52.50 for 36 quarrelers, 52.50 for 36 dwarf warriors, £18 for a runesmith, which we're going to have to buy, 42.50 for an Anvil of Doom, which we're going to have to buy, and we'll buy our dwarf engineers for 37.50. It's all adding up, isn't it? So anyway, let's take a look and see. What we've got. Forgive my ineptitude here of operating these different windows. We'll get there in the end. Right, so we're back to our unit. So we're going to have to add characters here. We can have a rune smith. Let's make him a rune lord. Let's make him our general, because we don't have a lot of choice here. And we might not actually have to, because we have a... Let's delete that a second. Easy enough to do. Let's add an Anvil of Doom. We've seen the Anvil of Doom. Well, we'll make it our general. Why not? We'll make it our general. Let's add a rune. Stop being so hasty. A rune smith. Let's add an engineer. And let's add another engineer. Because that's what's all available to us at the minute. Let's make the Anvil of Doom. The Anvil of Doom's a general. Let's give it some runes. I haven't had a look at any of these runes, so probably should have had a good look at this. Multiple wounds, D6 special rule. That's nice. 75 points though. Two plus the wound. They're expensive. They've made them expensive points wise. No armor save. What do you give? Well, anyway, we can come back to that. Let's add some special units. So we've got our core. 684 points at core, we'll have to have 500, so we're well over what we have to have. Let's add some Iron Breakers, which is my favourite unit in the Dwarves. Now, they're odd, they're expensive, points wise. Let's give them Cinder Bombs and a Musician. Cinder Bombs, a flaming attack, quick shot. A unit of Cinder Blast Bomb suffers D6 plus 1 hits rather than the usual 1. I'm assuming it's a thrown weapon that they can throw in hand to hand. But we'll worry about that at a later date. Let's make them drilled. Unit size is only 10. Full plate and weapon shields. Let's have a look at their stat line. Their strength 4, that's okay. They don't have... What does Grumroll weapons do? Armor piercing -1, so they're okay. They can cause damage to almost anything on the battlefield. I don't like the small unit though of 10. But they're expensive points wise. So in a box we're getting 20 for 52.50. And not wanting to waste money, I'm going to take 2 units of them. So let's add another unit of Iron Breakers. Exact same as the last unit. Give them a champion. Give them their Cinder Blast Bombs. Give them a standard. Give them a musician. Can't make this one drilled. So we're at 1631. We haven't added any. We haven't got good characters here. We don't have a king, and we don't have a rune lord. I'm assuming the Anvil of Doom counts as a rune lord. I'm assuming. Not 100% certain the way they've done it. I'm afraid I'm going to need the input of you guys on building a 2,000 point dwarf army here. If you're using the contents of that battalion box, you're going to be limited in what you're going to be able to add. At the minute I'm currently missing out on rangers, and Longbeards, which I could take as core, because I'm not wanting to waste money and buy miniatures that I'm never going to use. So if I'm going to buy that battalion box, I'm going to use the contents of it. Otherwise, there's no point buying it. I do really love Ironbreakers, but I don't like to buy. Ideally, I would take them in a unit of 20. Let's see what that would do to the points. People are just gonna outmaneuver them, is what used to happen. So, where are we? My unit of Ironbreakers, let's remove that one. And let's make this one. Checking to make sure I had it on the right window. Let's make this one 20 strong. So it's a 336 point unit all of a sudden. And we'll make it drilled. 356. It's a fair old whack of points to give away. Chances of it getting destroyed are... there's a fair chance it won't get destroyed. There was 3 up armor save. I'm pretty sure there's some runes that you can give the likes of the anvil, which can even drop that to a 2 up armor save. So, do you deploy them 10 wide, 2 deep, or do you deploy them 5 wide, 4 deep, which is the way I traditionally would have deployed them? Let's add a unit of hammers again, because you're banging them in 20s. You're going to want to use all 20. They're going to have great weapons. Let's give them shields though. They can drop the shields when they're defending. Sorry, they drop the great hammers when they're defending and use hand weapons shields to boost their armor. So that unit's 361 points. So there you can see we're having a serious problem already. A serious issue. Let's delete one of the engineers. Now we've bought 4 of these guys because they're only sold in 4s. I think you need 1 to give you access to the Jarrows, the war machines. Pretty sure there's a limit of war machines compared to engineers in the army. So still 1916, we don't have a very few points here for, so we're going to have to cut down these hammers and let's make them 16 strong. Hammers and Ironbreakers. What does that give us? It gives us some more points. Right. Can even make... But this is we're now wasting money. You understand? So I've made the Ironbreakers 15 strong, and I'm gonna put a runesmith in with them, or an engineer. One of these 2 characters will go in with that unit to push it back to 16. But one of them's a character. So let's give some runes out. In fact, this is going to take so long for me to go through all these runes and decide what I want. The object here was to show you exactly what you're going to need to buy to make a 2,000 point army. You're looking at 2 boxes of specialist troops for £105. Your battalion box, 110, we're at 215. Let's go back to the G-dub site, 215. And let's have a look. So, 110, 215. Let's add the runesmith. 220, 233. 233. Let's add the anvil of doom, 4250. 270, 550. 275, 50. We need our engineers. We're at 312.50. 312.50. We need our book. 312.50, 318, 319. So we've spent £319, which is what, $500 thereabouts. And we've got a half-assed army. Nowhere near ideal. We can't even use all our models, and we don't have any decent characters because they haven't been released yet. Where's a standard Dwarven King? You know, where's the standard Dwarven Rune Lord? We'll have a runesmith, so we can use that. We can really use him as anything we want, and that's what we're going to have to do. Again, we're going to have to take the Anvil of Doom. It's the only thing available to us. But we haven't added any of the fun stuff. The Goblin here, Bugman's Cart. It's going to be expensive to build this army. And you're going to have a lot of stuff that you're not going to ever use. Maybe in a big game, like 3,000-4,000 points, you'll get to use all your stuff. But this here, that there looks like good value, and it is pretty good value, but the problem is it's poor quantities, bad quantities of stuff. It's forcing you to take and use all these troops. You're going to use these two gyrocopters. Whether you build them both as gyrocopters or gyrobombers is irrelevant. You're going to use them because they're good. The rest of this stuff is debatable whether it's good or not, or it's needed. Some of it's needed. If you're making a 2,000 point army, you need to have that 500 point core block. So you'll get that 500 points here, no problem. But the problem is you have more than 500 points here. You have 600, over 600 here. So that's my concern. My concern is for new players. New players are not going to find it easy to build this army affordably. My advice to you is I will be picking up this Dwarfen Mountain Holds battalion box because I want to support the game. I want to support by buying official products as much as I can. My hammers and my specialized troops I'll get elsewhere. I'm not paying 52.50 for 20 miniatures that I'm not going to use all of because they're over points compared to some other stuff. There's plenty of other good companies out there who make really nice dwarves. In my opinion, these dwarves aren't particularly nice. The dwarves in the battalion box aren't bad. I don't really like, and this is where you may well disagree with me, I'm not a fan of these models. Can I get a close-up? To me, they're just blobs of metal. I think they've done a good paint job on them. GW will always do a good paint job on them. I could speed paint these in no time. That's not the issue. The issue is I don't think they're nice miniatures. They're very blocky. They're almost like squats. If anyone remembers the squats in 40k, That's what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at squats. Not happy with them. But I understand that, you know, I have the beholder. We're not all the same. What do their hammers look like? I think the hammers are slightly better. Hammers are slightly better, but again, they're very blocky looking. With their scale mail. Not a big fan of their some of their new plastics. And I understand that these aren't even new. New to me. The Runesmith. The Runesmith's okay, but it's painted really well. That's all freehand. All that pattern, there's a name for it that I can't remember. It's like a plait. That's all painted on. That's not embossed. This is just a really nicely painted miniature. There's not a lot of detail on this miniature. You're going to have to paint that detail on. You can tell that the hair on the beard, that's all been painted on. There's very little detail on that beard or that mustache. And that's because it's a plastic miniature. I bet. Multi-part plastic kit. Now maybe their really new stuff is a lot better, but let's take a look at something that is metal. I think these engineers are metal. Multi-part metal kits. $37.50 for 4 miniatures. But look at the detail. Far more detail on those miniatures than there is on those plastic miniatures. Far more. Yeah, it's more detailed to paint. But it's amazing what you can do with some speed paints and a bit of ingenuity. You don't need to be a master painter to make these look pretty good, as I will prove. But anyway, I don't know what this video has achieved, if anything. I really set out to try and make a 2,000 point army because I'm gonna paint up some dwarves, partially for the channel and partially for myself. Always liked the dwarves. They were my first army in Warhammer Fantasy Battle back in the day when I started. So I'll paint some up. They will end up in battle reports. Hopefully they'll end up on painting videos. And hopefully they'll serve some purpose. Be nice to have. Looking forward to getting a hold of some of these miniatures. I want a goblin here. I want the Doomseekers, obviously. I want a Bugman's cart. I want the engineers. All that, the money's adding up. You can't not have Slayers. Let's see, are the plastic or metal? They look metal to me, and that's simply because I can see quite a lot of detail on the hair. Metal kit, 12 metal Slayers. So you can see the detail. You can just see it. The hair looks far better on a metal miniature than on any plastic miniature that I've seen. Again, this is just my opinion. A lot of people don't like metal. It's very hard to work with if you're trying to modify it. They can be very statically posed, monopose type. You'll see that these poses are all very similar, apart from that one. These three are very similar. They've moved their arms a bit, give them different haircuts. That's what you've got to do when you're using a silicone mold. They don't like to make multi-part, and I don't particularly like multi-part metal models. You make them when you have to, because they're a nightmare to stick together. You have to start drilling and pinning and stuff, and people don't want to do that. So, anyway, it's going to be an expensive day out when I build a dwarf army. Temporarily out of stock, things very annoying already. The cards, there we go. Never have got a pack of cards. And never will, by the looks of things. But anyway, if you've stuck with me this long, thank you. I'm sorry it has been a bit of a rant, but that's what happens when I start thinking about doing an army and what it's going to cost me. And that's life. And it still will happen. I'll still make the army, and I will bring you guys along for the journey. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video, which will be a painting video of some description. Take it easy.